Hey Muffin here. So I've been doing these tank videos of ranking all of a certain tier from worst to best. Done it with tier 8, 9, 10. A lot of people liked it, got a lot of views. So here we go with tier 7. So once again, ranking from worst to best. So first off the list, starting off with the worst performing tank at tier 7 is the Stour Mill at a 46.41%. A little surprised by this. Amazing gun depression, but very weak armor, not very good traverse, so I can maybe see why this one's performing so bad, but didn't expect it to be the worst one. Next is the T20 at a 47%. This one, I mean, pretty all just well-rounded, like okay, not a lot going for it. I don't really play it that much. Next is the Panther M10 at a 47.02%. Have this tank. It's got good DPM, but struggles a little bit on the maneuverability, I guess. Next is the VK 30.02D at a 47.45%. A tank I don't really play very often. I did a tips and tricks vid on this. It's okay, but honestly, yeah, I could see how there's betters. Next is the Jag Panther at a 47.47% win rate. I could see this one increasing since they did just buff the armor not too long ago on it, and it is now a better tank. Next is the Panther 1 at a 47.58%. Not a bad tank, honestly. Like, one I don't really play very much, but not too bad. Next is the T25-2 at a 47.64%. One of these tanks that I could see maybe why players like it does. These are tanks that just don't have any armor to them, so those are typically the ones that have the lowest win rate. Next is the M41 Bulldog at a 47.65%. I honestly really like this tank, but once again, it's a tank with no armor on it. Next is the Challenger. Good maneuverability, really, once again, just no armor. I think people could end up putting themselves in a bad position, or because of the maneuverability, getting maybe a little aggressive with it. Next is the T71 at a 48.14% win rate. Like this tank, good auto loader, good maneuverability, but yeah, once again, just no armor. Next is the AMX A-Seam Lee 46 at a 48.20% win rate. It's okay frontally armored, but you can get a little overconfident and get penned, I guess, a decent amount. Next is the AMX 1375 at a 48.47% win rate. Once again, another lightly armored tank. Then next is the Type 5 Chi-Ri at a 48.72% win rate. Tank I really don't really play much at all. Next is the SPIC, or the SPIC, at a 48.80% win rate. Honestly, I was expecting this one to rank a lot lower, but recently they have given it a buff, so I've just never really liked this tank. It's probably been one of my least favorites. I haven't even played it since it's got the buff. Next is the T25AT at a 49% win rate. Honestly, like an okay tank destroyer. I think they've actually buffed the frontal armor on it. It's not bad. I think it's overall pretty average. Next is the E25 at a 49.24% win rate. I actually think this is an incredible tank destroyer. Has amazing DPM, great maneuverability, but just the fact that it has no armor, I can see how people would struggle to play with this tank. But it has an amazing camo rating. I really like it. Next is the T23E3 with a 49.43% win rate. Honestly, like a really good, capable medium. It's actually one of my favorite tier 7 mediums. but once again, it's a tank that doesn't have really any armor. Next is the Tiger 1 at a 49.68% win rate. Probably one of my favorite tier 7s, just for the historical part of it. Next is the IS-2 at a 49.70% win rate. Good, like, okayly armored, but that Russian accuracy, you definitely have that with it. Next is the Y5 ELC BIS or BIS at a 49.74% win rate. Not a bad tank, honestly, like pretty good. I've only played it like only a handful of times, and it hasn't been bad. Next is the Comet at a 49.78% win rate. A tank I honestly thought would have been performing a lot better. This is actually another one of my favorite tier 7 tanks. Just really good, incredible turret, good gun depression, maneuverability. I think this tank just really has it all. Next is the P43 tier at 50.32% win rate. So the Italian line, they don't really have a whole lot of armor to them, but I was surprised this one beat the Comet, so that one kind of surprised me. Next is the AT7 at a 50.33% win rate. Well armored, but these tanks have just these huge kind of weak spot like hatches on top, which can really throw players off, and you can get yourself in a bad position. Next is what used to be in the tech tree, but now a collectible, the KV-13 at a 50.45% win rate. Honestly, not a bad tank. Have it, and it's okay. Next is the WZ-135G FT Blaze at a 50.72% win rate. Honestly, I was kind of surprised this one ranked a little bit higher. It is a tank destroyer, decent maneuverability. I actually don't mind it, but doesn't have a lot of armor. Next is the T-24-2G FT at a 50.58% win rate. I don't think I really ever play with it. Next is the AMX M4 Lee 45 at a 50.65% win rate. Honestly, like, okay tank, honestly not bad. Next is the SU-100M1 at a 50.68% win rate. This tank I struggle with just because it just has terrible gun depression. Next is the Black Prince at a 50.82% win rate. Honestly, like one of the kings of DPM for heavies. It is absolutely deadly if you can get enemies in front of you with this thing. Next is the AMX 1357 at a 51.18% win rate. Great autoloader, can shoot, I think it holds about 6 rounds, kind of like the light tank version of the Gravedigger, I guess you could say. Next is the LTTB at a 51.38% win rate. Great tank. This tank actually has great armor for it being a light tank. Its maneuverability, it really is a good one. Next is actually a tank that was only in an event that had come out a long time ago. Maybe some of you guys would remember this, maybe some of you won't, but it was the T-49 ATM. That's kind of the World of Tanks Blitz test for, I think, the missile tanks before the shared of them came out. This one had a 51.47% win rate. Next is the IS at a 51.50% win rate. A good Russian tank, definitely has that Russian accuracy. Next is the ISU 122S at a 51.51% win rate. Great, like honestly good tank, really no different than the SU 152 with the lower caliber cannon on it. Basically has the same exact cannon. Next is the T-29 at a 51.83% win rate. One of the greatest American tier 7, one of the greatest tier 7 tanks in my opinion. Just excellent turret, and is really, really capable. Next is the SU-122-44 at a 51.84% win rate. Honestly, like overall, like I find this to be an okay tank. I have it, I don't play it very much. Next is the KV3 at a 52% win rate. Well armored, honestly, it's very capable tier 7 heavy tank. Next is the VK45.03 at a 52.23% win rate. Premium tank, honestly, like it's not bad. I don't know if I like playing the Tiger 1 better just because of the historical part of it, but it's kind of like a tier 7 version of the Tiger 2 but weaker. I don't really care for it too much. Next is the M4 FL10 at a 52.36% win rate. The first auto reloader introduced in the game. Not bad. I actually think it's an okay tank. It's not bad. Next is the T43 at a 52.41% win rate. Okay, I mean, overall, like pretty average. I think it's a good medium tank. Next is the FV201 A45, one of my favorite tier 7s. Great DPM, good turret. It's a really capable heavy tank in my opinion. Next is the T34-1 at a 52.45% win rate. Yeah, like once again, good tank. Next, SU-152, the Beast, at a 52.55% win rate. This one just basically just really fun to play with, really derpy, with that 152 millimeter cannon. Next is the anime tank, the Hafen at 52.69%. Tank, I don't really care too much for the anime tanks, but some of these I guess could be like okay. Next is the Tiger P at a 52.78% win rate. Great tank, has really good frontal armor, better than the Tiger 1. Just got to watch your cupola on top as it is a little bit of a easier weak spot to hit. Next is the T3485 Rudy at a 52.97% win rate. A very capable medium, like a good maneuverability, good cannon, not a lot of gun depression, but honestly good medium. Next is the AT-15A at a 53.09% win rate. Great DPM, good armor, just got to watch that hatch on top. Next is the Chi 2 SPG at a 53.14% win rate. I honestly was expecting this tank to have a higher win rate, average win rate across the players, because this is, in my opinion, a tank that is a little OP currently. Next is the Type 62A at a 53.17% win rate. Great light tank. Just overall, just really good. I like it. Next is the Vulcan at a 53.56% win rate. Another anime tank. Don't have it. Next is the Predator at a 53.65% win rate. And I'll be honest with you, I am just not a fan of this tank. I have it. I'm actually surprised it ranked as high as it did. Next is the Edelweiss at a 53.80% win rate. Another anime tank, don't really have it. Next is the Vindicator at a 53.93% win rate. Very derpy, just like pretty good frontal armor, kind of like the SU-152, but more frontal armor. I actually like this tank. Some people don't, but I do. Next is the Tankenstein at a 53.97% win rate. Honestly, like very fun, just kind of unique. It is very slow, which can make it sometimes a little painful to play with, but honestly, like a good heavy tank. Next, the IS-2 145 or 1945, excuse me, at a 54.40% win rate. Honestly, like good tank. I have this tank. I play it every once in a while. Definitely, once again, that Russian accuracy. Next is the Gravedigger at a 54.51% win rate. Honestly, a tank I'm actually really surprised ranks as high as it does, because it's probably one of my least favorite heavy tanks in the entire game, just bad accuracy, just bad penetration. You come across tier 8s and it just, I personally don't like it. Next is the Nameless at a 54.52% win rate, another animate tank. And then is the T28 Concept at a 54.86% win rate. Well armored. I honestly like this tank is just a little stiff, kind of just a little hard, like not a lot of gun depression. This one was one I was kind of surprised ranked as high as it did. Next is the M6A2E1 at a 55.09% win rate. Not bad, like honestly, like good tank, kind of like the sister tank, I guess, to the M6. Like the older sister, I guess. Next is the Helsing at a 55.12% win rate. Honestly, not too surprised. It has very good sloped armor, that double barrel cannon, really like not a bad tank destroyer and good maneuverability. Next is the Lycan at a 55.20% win rate. Good turret, good cannon, has that Russian accuracy. But honestly, like, I mean, not too bad. Then is the Dracula at a 55.49% win rate. Very incredible tier 7. I'm actually not surprised this one ranks as high. Just very fast, very maneuverable, great cannon. Then next is the IS-2 Pravda SP at a 56.27% win rate. So kind of surprised on that one. And then next, I've actually heard from a few YouTubers and people, the Lupus at a 56.92% win rate is actually quite OP, just has good armor. I don't have it, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, and that one ranked as number 2. And number 1, you can probably guess it. This tank needs no introduction. I think everyone knows this is probably one of the most broke tanks in the game, in my opinion, but it is the Smasher at a 57.25% win rate. So that is ranking all the tier 7 tanks from worst to best. Hope you enjoyed the vid. This is the Muffin here. Stay cool and keep tanking.